Hi, this is Marcus Pulis, and this is Aquarian Anarchy. As before, if you would, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and share this if you like the video, and definitely give it a like. And check out my previous videos. They're starting to get a few of them. And I think that I do a pretty good job at covering the news from a voluntarist perspective. Today, I have a few topics I want to talk about. The first one that I've chosen to talk about, some might even say that it's not that important, that I'm going to be overreacting and what have you. But I think that part of the point is that no one's talking about this. And so being that it's not in the mainstream media, they glossed over it. The source that I have for this is a mainstream media source, but again, not getting the kind of attention that I think it should. And it'll become pretty evident why as I go. So, first thing is to just give it a title. And that title is "The Tyrant in Chief Signs the North American Union into Law." For those of you who don't know what the North American Union is, it's something they've had in the works for some time, and the groundwork for that was really laid by Nafta, the North American Free Trade Agreement. And I'm not going to get into the weeds and talk about how that was bad or how that was good and how it wasn't free trade. But needless to say, what the North American Union is, or is the brainchild that it is it's when the United States with Canada and Mexico agree to trade. That sounds great, except for that it's more than that. And the idea is moving towards what the European Union is, or the African Union, or and the other globalizing agendas that the people out there who are supporting a one world government are trying to get to. So Trump signed the next step towards that into law, and last week. Now you might ask, where the hell is Alex Jones in all of this? Screaming at the top of his lungs about the New World Order. All you got to do to find Alex is just slide that podium that's in front of Trump aside. You'll see him there sucking Trump off because he has sold out his soul to the New World Order. Make no doubt, he's sold, bought and paid for, and if I'm ticking somebody off, show me proof he's not. You know, Alex used to be about truth. He used to be about, rolling back. He called himself a libertarian, but he's not. I don't know how much it cost to buy him, but he got bought. So Trump signs the revised trade deal with Mexico, Canada, but shuts the Democrats out of the celebration. This is the headline for the USA Today article by Michael Collins. It goes on. Facing a divisive impeachment trial in the Senate. They're still talking about that bull crap that still not doing anything crazy. Anyway, President Donald Trump celebrated a rare bipartisan achievement Wednesday when he signed into law the revamped trade deal with Mexico and Canada. Just like, I believe it was, I don't remember which comedian it was, but you know that a really big, I think it was George Carlin, the really big screwing's about to be done to you when they come out and say this is bipartisan. Because that means they've already made the deal behind the doors. I'm going to get a little bit, you're going to get a little, because they're all going to get something, because that's what government does. So when they outright say this is bipartisan, then you know that you might as well just spread those butt cheeks, because you're about to get thoroughly raped. So anyway, needless to say, this will not be for children. So, surrounded by business leaders wearing hard hats, because of blue collar, I'm sure, Trump portrayed the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. YMCA. They're out there making gestures. Anyway, as a colossal victory for American farmers, manufacturers, and workers. I bet that Trump was thinking about them just like when he did the tariffs. He was thinking about the farmers, the manufacturers, and how he could get money out of them by blaming China. Anyway, so for the first time in American history, we have replaced a disastrous trade deal. So there's never been a trade deal that was disastrous. Really. That rewarded outsourcing with a truly fair and reciprocal trade deal that will keep jobs, wealth, and growth right here in America. Bull. Every bit of that's going to be bull. because Mexico and Canada would never signed on if that was all true. Never would have signed on. If they weren't giving them something. I mean, it's just common sense. And you know what's funny is it's a free market solution. Free market means government's not involved. The fact that you, Mr. Trump, are out there representing the government in proposing any kind of manipulation of the markets means this is not free trade because it's government involvement. They've tried to co-opt free trade now because that ever makes any sense. Anyway. He said this while at a signing ceremony on the White House South Lawn. Trump gave a shout out to more than 24 Republican lawmakers he credited with helping push the deal through Congress. Bipartisan. It was bipartisan. It passed massively. Left off his list of plaudits. I don't know what a plaudit is, but that's what it says. Missing from the celebration, congressional Democrats who put their own stamp on the agreement. In other words, Democrats made a deal with Trump. They'll pass it, but they don't want him to talk about it. Because, their people are going to be like, did you vote for that? Agreement? Maybe? He didn't talk about me, I'll tell you that. There's no way. Who put their own stamp of agreement and whose support was pivotal in helping it secure approval. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, because you know that it's all good if Nancy Pelosi's attached to it, said no Democrats were invited to the ceremony. But because you arranged that and you made it, this is all part of the divide and conquer bullcrap. Because you agree with Trump. This is, it's bad. Our people get mad as we're working with you again. So, the revised trade deal, one of Trump's top legislative priorities. How many top legislative priorities does this clown had? Everything. This was one of the top ones. I didn't think about it till yesterday, but it's the top one. Is the product of months of negotiations that replaces the I'll bet. I'll give you this, you give me that, and let me just slide this little bit in here and this little bit in there. Yeah, all kinds of negotiations were going on. Democrats and Republicans both lost. You mark my words, the American people will lose. Which essentially eliminated tariffs on most goods or Nafta, which is essentially eliminated tariffs. It's a replacement for the North American Free Trade Agreement, or Nafta, which essentially eliminated tariffs on goods traded among the three countries. In other words, he's opening up. We can tariff the shit out of you now, because I got to tax my people somehow. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pretend it's you. It's going to be your fault. And in trade, you're going to get really, really rich off my people. See how that works? Here you go. And anyway, the revised trade deal, one of Trump's top legislative priorities. Such crap. The agreement guarantees U.S. farmers greater access to Canada's agriculture market. Because they weren't allowed. And no, you can't have corn from Canada. Don't trade. No. Plus new e-commerce rules in place. It dictates free trade, dictates that a higher percentage of autos be made from parts manufactured in North America. Manufactured in North America is code. They send the parts from China, from Japan, from Germany, and they just put them together here. He requires that at least 40% of the vehicle production be done by workers earning at least $16 an hour. That was for unions. We'll talk about them in a minute. But if the unions, you gotta get you people to agree to this, and we're gonna give you a raise. So, because you can bet that if the entry-level person's making $16 an hour, that next guy is making 25, then 35, 75. They're making all kinds of money getting a raise. The pact, which with the devil, the pact, which is supported by labor unions and business groups, includes stronger provisions on labor and pharmaceuticals that Democrats sought as conditions for the approval. In other words, they wanted more regulations. They're avoiding using the word regulations because Trump is supposed to be not regulating stuff. But so they're going to pretend that he's not doing that. But that's what he's doing. He's put in regulations because we all know that's how free market works. Though Trump signed the trade pact into law, it won't be put into force for several months. They want to get this. The damage, like if they got it now, the damage would start being seen before the next election cycle. We can't be having all that. This guy getting into the next one so that we don't, they'll start it before the next election cycle, but they aren't going to give it time to screw everybody over before people are getting elected. It won't be put in force for several months, and Daniel, I don't even know. UJZCO. You tell me. I don't have the first clue. An international trade attorney in Ohio. Canada's parliament must approve the deal. Mexico's Senate overwhelmingly approved the agreement in December. I don't have a thing against Mexicans. Mexicans are great people. I'm sure that they're awesome. They're hard workers, all that. But their politicians are socialists. The bottom line is their people are not. Their people are great. Their politicians are awful. Just awful. Corrupt as could be. I mean, this isn't like it's just a surprise. So they're all kinds of and so they came right out. Oh yeah, passed. Like we're supposed to. I didn't notice that. Anyway. The next step is for all three countries to submit notice that they have met all of the requirements, which I'm guessing the requirements are much more stringent on the American side, because otherwise the other two wouldn't have signed on. Under the deal, develop uniform regulations that companies will use to comply with the agreement on a day-to-day basis. If you've not followed what's going on in Canada and Mexico, both these places are socialist countries for the most part. They are definitely a little farther down that line. Not that we're not. Not that the United States is not a socialist country. It certainly is. But they're a little farther down that road. And so, yeah. Anyway, the development of regulations is the most painstaking yet most important part of the process, of course, because it's the kickbacks. You give me, I got this time for kickbacks. I mean, line my pocket. I got all kinds of stuff to buy. The parties have started working on the regulations, but some areas, such as new auto rules, will require significantly more work, he said. The agreement would be put into force in July, but may be pushed back until Labor Day. Shocking, Labor Day, which is a socialist holiday. I mean, I can write this crap myself. I mean, it's just... Anyway, quote, regardless of the actual date, this will be the new reality for North American companies. There it is. They code this, and they put stuff in the North American companies. I realize it's all North American, but that was their way to say that that's what this is. Anyway, and the time is now to focus on potential impacts, he said. We have moved past politics and policy to the practicalities. So, again, what this is pretty simple. It's the North American Union. And it is yet one more step. It's not the full-on shebang yet. We're not quite to voting access for Canadians in American politics. We're not quite to open borders between the different states and being able to move easier and those kinds of things. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm for open borders, and not really. I agree with Adam Kokesh, the only real border that is legitimate is private property borders. But the part of their goal is to be able to move people back and forth across the borders more simply for business purposes, not for individual purposes. They'll still make it a pain in the ass for the normal person to go back and forth. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, so that's come into being. So that's terrible. Last week I talked about the gun stuff that Virginia just said screw what you guys 22,000 people said and passed their own stuff. By the way, just you can go look this up yourself, but 7 gun legislation bills passed. I mean, they didn't care, not one bit. Covered in the last one. But anyway, so that's bad news. But we have some good news. If anybody has been following what has been going on in Britain and with the European Union, because you got to wonder, we're going to have to do what they just did in Britain. The problem is different. But Britain's been trying to get out of the European Union for almost as long as they been in it, and this has all been led by the party UKIP and Nigel Farage. If you're not familiar with Nigel Farage, I'll have links below. He's hilarious. Whether you agree with him or not, he's a funny dude, and I enjoy him. He endorsed Trump. It really disappointed me at the time, but he's funny, and but he's been trying to get Britain out of the European Union forever. And he is the number one person that got Brexit passed. And the British people said, without a question, okay, we're done. We're not playing this game anymore. It's European Union bullcrap. Go figure, isn't working for us. You're draining off of us, pulling our money. Trade hasn't gotten any better. We don't have any benefits from working in this. And as Nigel Farage pointed out multiple times, these are unelected officials ruling by dictate. I mean, it is pretty much a dictatorship in the European Union. And Britain was part of that. And so they have officially withdrawn as of Friday. It was hilarious. Again, links below. But Nigel Farage gets all his people in Britain, and you can tell, he's just happy as a lark. He's like, and see y'all later. See ya. Bye-bye. And the lady, you could tell in dictatorial fashion, put your flags away, because they got British flags out, and they're just waving them. See ya. You can see a whole bunch of them from Britain. And she is mad. I mean, just mad. The chancellor lady or whoever's in charge of the meeting, she was mad. You could tell. But he didn't care. Did not care. Just waving his flag, happy as a lark. And she's like, get out! Just take your flags with you. And Nigel Farage is like, man, he didn't actually do that, but that's what he did. So anyway, they even had a video, again, linked in the bottom, where Nigel and one of his assistants comes out. They got the whole row, and I'm sure this is staged. It's so hilarious. The whole row of all the different European Union flags. And here comes Nigel Farage just walking up and goes to the British flags on one end. And he just takes the whole stand down, sets it on the floor, takes the flag off, folds it up all neat and tidy. And then the two of them just kind of walk off. Like, okay, this is done. So that's awesome. Why is it awesome? Because it is localization. What just happened in Britain is a move away from, and in Britain a lot of those people are not good people, and I'm not talking about the British people. I'm talking about politicians. And Nigel Farage may be just as bad. I'm not sure. But as they go, he's kind of like Rand Paul. Rand's not really a good guy, but he's better than a lot of them. And it's the same thing with Nigel Farage, I think. And but this was them saying, no, we're not going to be part of this huge multinational thing that is the European Union. We're going to pull that back. And what is really, really cool about that is that it was bloodless. You know, people all the time are saying, well, especially when talking with about Adam and his plan to dissolve the federal government and localize the American society. This isn't going to happen without bloodshed. You hear it all the time. Oh, anarchy can't happen unless there's people killed. That's all bull. And again, that can be proven right now. Just last Friday, with Nigel Farage and with Brexit. They said, we're done. We're going to be friends. You can still trade with us. We'll trade with you. We'll do all this craziness. We'll agree on a bunch of stuff. We'll work together voluntarily. But we're not going to be subjects of your dictatorship. That's not going to happen. And it happened peacefully. So it can happen. And it can be seen right there in front of you. Why is Britain any different than Texas? Texas is bigger. Texas is bigger. And California, much bigger, with a bigger economy. This reminds me exactly of what Adam is talking about. Why can't we do that here? We can. And that's the easy answer. And we could see that, you know, our opinion, because I work for Adam Kokesh, in the campaign, our opinion is that you cut the head off the snake. You pull the government from the top down. You know, you localize. You bring it to each level as it goes, just like what's going on with Brexit. But there are other ways to attack this problem of no representation. You know, taxation without representation, which is exactly what we have. Because we are, if you think you are represented by those fools you sent to Washington, D.C. to live, I don't know what I can do for you. but anyway, so basically, that's how we see things most easily panning out. And I really do believe that's the best way to do it. You cut that power off, return the power to the states, because the states already have most of the stuff that they're going to need. So, but it isn't the only way to attack this problem. There are a bunch of secessionist movements, and one of those is a friend of mine, Marcus Ruiz Evans, is involved with a group called Yes California, or you might have heard them as the Calexit movement, which is very similar in many ways to the Brexit movement. They realize that their interests are different in California than most of the United States, and if they have any similarities, it's going to be like New York. You know, it's going to be way over here. It's not going to be Oregon, or it might be Oregon. It's not going to be Nevada. It's not going to be Texas. It's not going to be Arizona. You know, it's going to be people far, far away if they have any similarities at all. So they have their own culture. And so they're trying to do something very similar to what Brexit was with Calexit, and just peacefully separate. And Adam actually spoke with them this past weekend on Sunday. I taped these on Tuesday. And it was a pretty good conversation. I strongly suggest that you look at it again. It will be in the bottom, as will Adam's platform, so you can get an idea of what he's talking about. So that's the second thing I wanted to talk about. The third thing I did not want to talk about. I do not want to talk about this again, but I have to, because everybody wants to stop talking about it. I mean, I'm walking through work. I have a day job too. I'm walking through work, and there's this little corner where a lot of people, conservatives, like to sit and talk. And I walk by, and I swear I'm getting ready to go out the door, and this is what I hear: China, 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 China. It's not like I'm like taking out words or anything. No, that's exactly what they said. They just China. It was the craziest, insane, but they're talking about the coronavirus. And fear, and all these people are scared about it. So I got to talk about it. This is out of CBS, and I actually have two articles linked to this. One is a little older, one's from today. So in CBS, this is the older article, 11 of the 17,000 cases of the new coronavirus are in the United States. It's now gone up, but I'll cover that in a minute. 3 more cases of the new coronavirus were confirmed in the United States on Sunday, all in California, bringing the total number of people in the country with the disease to 11. Fear, be afraid, 11 people got a disease. You want the full shebang and how it's stupid to be scared of this? Go watch last week's video. I'm just catching you up. That's why this is 3 and not 1. Last week it was 1. The weekend also saw its first death blamed on flu-like outside of China. As of Monday morning, there were at least 17,205 confirmed cases in more than 24 countries, the vast majority of them in China. Way more in China than anywhere else. Most of them are single digits, 1, 3, something like that. There's a few with double. That's it. Hundreds in China. According to the World Health Organization, there have been 361 deaths. That's gone up. I'll get to it in a minute. All of them in China except for 1 confirmed in the Philippines over the weekend. This is the update from Fox News. Again, linked in the bottom. The death toll from the virus increased on Tuesday, today, to 425 with a total of 2,438 infected. I don't know how they're getting these numbers. My guess is they're just making it up. Because who knows? They're cording things off. I mean, how are they getting numbers? Chasing people down with drones. I'll get to that in a minute, too. Anyway, U.S. officials declared a public health emergency. Okay, 11 people. U.S. government officials declared a public health emergency. This is back to the CBS article. Last week, and as a result, foreign nationals who have traveled to China in the last 2 weeks and aren't immediate family members of the U.S. citizens, keep in mind, they brought a bunch of people home, and permanent residents will be temporarily banned from entering the United States under the orders of Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar. Anyone entering the U.S. who has been in China, Hubei province in the last 2 weeks will be subject to a 2-week quarantine. The first 195, this is it, first 195 Americans evacuated from Wuhan. Okay, so this is when Trump was like, oh, there's people with a sickness there. I better bring them home. Why? Keep their asses there. Let them quarantine their shit there. If this is this scary bad thing, keep them people there. That's common sense. So anyway, the epicenter of the outbreak are under federal quarantine and will remain at a military base in South California until mid-February. The government hasn't issued such a quarantine order in more than 50 years. 11 people. 11. Nobody died. 11 got sick. 11. 50 years, I ain't quarantined nobody. Last week I covered SARS. I covered Ebola. 50 years. SARS and Ebola, much worse. This is barely worse than a cold. Anyway, the State Department has warned Americans to avoid all travel to China. Due to the rapidly spreading outbreak, the decision came after the WHO, the World Health Organization, designated the outbreak a global public health emergency. Emergency! So that we can throw a bunch of crap at you. Covered that. Anyway, back to the Fox article. This is what I want to compare this to. So, 11 people in this country. 11. Okay? The numbers worldwide, 425 died. That's sad. 425 people died. Been about a month. It's sad. 425 people died. It's awful. It's never good when somebody dies when they should be just good to go. You're talking about 20,000 sick people. Now that sounds just awful. Until this is from the Fox article, linked below. More proof that this is all hype. That's not from the article because they're not going to say that. Is to compare it to the flu. The flu has estimated to have killed, the flu, roughly, listen to these numbers, has been said to have killed roughly 10,000 to 25,000 people, with nearly 19 to 26 million people infected in the United States between October 1st of 2019 through January 25th of 2020, according to the CDC. So you tack on a couple more months, I'll grant you that. But this is the flu. We have it every year. 10 to 25,000 people have died. This is what I was talking about last week. That the numbers, again, every life is sacred. Every life is worth something. I'm not saying that it's not. But people get sick. People die. They develop pneumonia. They get the flu and die. It happens all the time. A lot. And we're talking about a country. The majority of the people who have gotten any of this infection, whether sick or dying, are in China. China has billions of people. This is not a statistic. We are not at 1% of the population at this point. Not 1%. This is a tiny little minority of people that have caught this disease that does not seem to be that bad. But they're pumping it up to be this huge thing. Brings me to one other little piece of the story, again, linked to below. World Alternative Media does a good job. And anyway, they were talking about one of the things they're doing in China, supposedly. And like, again, you can go look at the video, go look up the video of the Chinese lady walking around. Oh, they shouldn't have a mask on. So they got a drone out there going, "Hey, old lady," I think they called her aunt. "What are you doing? Go home." They're chasing this lady down in China. Coming to an America near you. They're chasing this lady down, sending her back home. That's part of the thing is China's able to control their population with this. So part of what they're doing is drone related. They put aerosol. They put disinfectant aerosol in drones, and they're flying them around, squirting everybody. Now, first of all, I'm going to be madder now you squirt me with some shit from the sky. You know, bird shit's on me, I get madder now. You just spraying me down. But we don't know what's in that. What if they've got the virus in that? If I were a Chinese guy, that's exactly what I'd be thinking they were doing. So, this is all bullcrap. It is all bullcrap. Now, my opinion, and I give a lot of opinion, has developed. And last week I said that my opinion is this is all on purpose. And they're probably pushing something out. And I think I was onto something, but I didn't have the whole story yet. What I think is actually going on is they're testing. This is not Ebola. This is not some massive disease. What they're doing is they're seeing how fast this, for the most part, harmless, 400 people, but for the most part, in a statistical way, harmless virus, still damaging, spreads. The reaction, what happens? How can we shut this down? And I think both the American government and the Chinese government are getting an awful lot of information on, one, how fast it takes to shut it down. What would happen if the United States said, uh-oh, shut it down? Because that's what they did. Because this is all bull. This is not something dangerous. But they can get a lot of analysis to what happens, and they're studying it, in my opinion, and following what the pattern is and how they can get around the pattern, where it's weakest. They are testing it, and which means they're probably actually going to do it at some point. I don't know when. Could be next year, could be 5 years from now, could be 10 years from now. Government's patient. They when they're going to kill a bunch of people, they can take the time to make sure they get. So anyway, but that's what I think is going on. So another thing I don't really want to talk about, but I'm going to, is this farce that happened in Iowa yesterday, and with the Democratic primary. Obviously, Donald Trump won. Bill Weld got like 1.5% of the vote or something like that. Trump dominated, but we knew he was going to. But on the Democratic side, who knows? we don't have any idea because they're stupid. And again, this is all on purpose. I've seen it. What they have planned to do is being played out all over Twitter. Because I can't tell you how many people have been like, okay, these are the people who want to control healthcare, control your whole life, and they can't run an election. So that's the whole point in doing this, is so that Trump can get reelected. And they give excuses to why this guy, who everybody hates, got reelected. There's a dozen people that are actually going to vote for him, and I get it. And you know, hillbillies sometimes don't make the best decisions. But anyway, Iowa caucus vote. Totals delayed amid inconsistencies. Campaigns lash out at crazy state party. Blaming the state party. The Iowa Democratic Party still has not reported, and this is as of this morning, official vote totals in the critical Iowa caucuses as of early Tuesday morning, in a largely unexplained and unprecedented delay. I mean, I remember watching when Ron Paul was running as a Republican. I remember watching and being like, he's going to get it. Anyway, that's how it went. But, yeah. So I remember that night staying up. So anyway, in a large, unexplained, and unprecedented delay that has raised questions about the legitimacy of the contest. That's all not legitimate. None of these people, if voting worked, they'd outlaw it. You know, so the Democratic campaign officials are livid, I'll bet. Fox News has learned that Trump campaign, meanwhile, openly suggested the delay meant the caucuses were being, quote, rigged. Because they were rigged. They're always rigged. This is not anything new. None of this is a new... It's always rigged. I mean, the proof that it was rigged in 2012 is so astronomical. I mean, every single contest was rigged to be a way. They wanted Romney. That's who they're going to do. And the Republicans were much better at doing it than the Democrats are. And that's one of the reasons why I think that this is all planned. Because they talk. And if the Republicans can rig an election efficiently, the Democrats can do it too. They're not that dumb. You know, they can do it. So, in the embarrassing night proved that the Democratic Party can't be trusted to run America's healthcare. Told you. And implement sweeping new government programs. Even if a winner were ultimately announced, the chaos. The chaos. It's all going to be chaos. Remember when they tell you that anarchists, without government, if we had anarchy, it'd be chaos. They can't even run a damn election. So, chaos. Anyway, and confusion has seemingly erased any hope for a major momentum boost that would normally result. In other words, they had to figure out a way that Bernie Sanders can lose. Because they're like, oh, hell no, he's not going to win. We got to figure out a way to make that just obvious that he's not going to win. And so they did. That's what they did. We found, quote, we found inconsistencies in the reporting of 3 sets of results, end quote. And the IDP Iowa Democratic Party said in a statement at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in addition to the text systems which use the tabulate results, we are also using photos of results and paper trail to validate that all results match and ensure that we have confidence and accuracy in the numbers we are reporting. Bullcrap. I watched this. This doesn't. They aren't verifying none. They're going to sneak them off. I remember in Maine with Ron Paul. They go down the list, and where Ron Paul run is amazing. They screwed up and had a zero there. There was 20 people in the caucus, but oops, it just so happened to be the Ron Paul winnings. Anyway. This is anyway, so they're just rigging it. Fox News is told that during an initial conference call with the campaigns, an IDP representative said that the party would be, quote, getting photo of the paper results sent over, but didn't answer any questions and then hung up on all the campaigns. Shut up. These people, what they expect you to believe is such nonsense. Anyway, it's their fault. It's nothing to do with Democrats. It's all Iowa. It's all Iowa. Them damn stupid Iowans. If I was in Iowa, I'd be madder than fire if they called me this stupid. Anyway, a campaign staffer told Fox News, it was crazy. It was crazy. It's chaos. Aren't you glad we got a government to make sure things are chaotic and crazy? Anyway, another campaign official told Fox News, yes, they did hang up. Probably because you were like, what the hell are you talking about? I know if it was my job, and I was in charge of all this stuff, and I'm working for a campaign that I'm 100% behind, if it was happening to Adam, I would be livid on the phone. And then I'm sure. Anyway, during a second, equally contentious conference call early Tuesday morning, the IDP reportedly informed campaigns they could expect results sometime later on Tuesday. As of now, no such results. But gave no information about how the results would be verified or when precisely they would be published. We gotta doctor this the way we want it. Anyway, the 2016 Iowa caucus tallies were provided on the same day of voting, with more than 90% of the precincts reporting by 11 p.m. Eastern Time that year. 90% done. They could call everything. They can call everything, usually about 30%. But anyway, so in 2016, they had this handled by this time. Speaking on a brief call with reporters at approximately 1:10 a.m. in Matternell, Tuesday, that lasted a little over a minute, the IDP said the system to validate electoral results was taking longer than expected. Do you think? They've been doing it forever on the night of. Oops. But there was no hack. This is not hacking. This is definitely not hacking. No hacking involved. It did not get hacked. The Russians hacked the U.S. government. All kinds of crazy. But no. But no, these were secure. Because they were Democrats and they were secure, even though they've proven that they were hacked. Anyway, IDP did not specify a precise time for the results to be posted on Tuesday. This is my favorite part. Mayor Pete declared victory! Whee! Ain't no way this dude won. But whee! I won! You guys can't prove anything, so whee! The void of information allowed campaigns to spin the results in their favor. Former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, which I'm not even sure how to pronounce this dude's name. That's how he's not going to win. So, even said that he was victorious! I'm sure he was stupendous. Trump was calling stupendous victory. Victorious! Early Tuesday, and that Iowa had shocked the nation. Yeah, they shocked the nation, all right. Chaos, crazy. So anyway, claiming the campaign's internal numbers showed he had pulled ahead. Except Bernie Sanders went rogue. That's what it says. He went rogue. Bernie Sanders is crotchety. This dude's already had a heart attack in this election cycle, but he's gonna win. Anyway, released internal data. He went rogue and released internal data. His own internal. Both of these are internal data. We won. Sure of it. Stupid. Anyway, and his campaign said represented the vote totals of 40% of the precincts. The figures which indicate Sanders was winning, shocker, with narrow lead over Mayor Pete, were also unverified. I heard talk of flipping a quarter earlier to one. Chaos! I can't do anarchy. He's got something to chaos. Who would rig the elections? Because then anarchy wouldn't happen in the elections. This is such nonsense. Anyway, as if this matters. The bottom line is this is all for amusement. That's why I find it so damn amusing. It's all for amusement. Because the winner will be chosen by the superdelegates at the convention. Before anybody gets all the panties in a wad and says, they changed the rules. Superdelegates don't do that anymore. That was 2016. That doesn't happen no more. All the DNC did was they made it to where the superdelegates, which are insiders, and, like, people who are governors, people who are party insiders, have a significant voting block. And what they did to make things better is they said they can't vote on the first ballot. To explain to people that don't know how this works, when they get together, they will vote. And if nobody gets 50% on the first ballot, they'll go to a second ballot, and so on, so on, so on, until somebody gets over 50% of the vote. That's how it works. The first vote, superdelegates can't vote on. Why do you think there are so many candidates? The chances that somebody is going to get to 50% is big. It's not going to happen. First, it's going to be decided what's going to happen. Assuming that Biden's still the choice, because he's still sniffing kids. Biden taking a picture of him during this whole thing with his grandkid, French kissing her on TV. Dude, he's gonna beat Trump. This dude can't stop touching kids. Stop. It doesn't make. Anyway. But if it's Biden or whoever they decide, it will not be Bernie Sanders. I hate to tell y'all. It is not going to be Bernie Sanders. It might be Mayor Pete. Maybe they've chosen Mayor Pete to be better than Biden because Biden can't stop touching kids. But it'll be whoever they decide. My guess is probably going to be Elizabeth Warren. That's what I think. She's going to surge and Liz and the Mohicans will rise. and lose to Trump because she's Liz and the Mohicans. I want Yang to drop out. And the reason I want Yang to drop out is because then Elizabeth Warren can say that she is the only minority in the election right now. And of course, they're ignoring libertarians. Adam's a Jew. But anyway, but yeah, that's what I want to happen. Is I want Yang to drop out and say, I'm the only minority. She's never going to say that. She's cut so much hell for saying she's an Indian in college and getting the government to pay for it. I'm sorry. This is all funny to me. So all that doesn't matter. So that's what I wanted to cover for this week. So my commentary is all this stuff We've talked about everything from the Nafta, the new North American Union, to all this crap with the election and coronavirus and all that. Stop being manipulated. Stop being the guy in my workplace going, China, China. Stop being that dude. Stop. I'm trying to put out some news and whatever. But I guarantee, as if you can't tell, I don't have somebody, mapping what I'm going to say out in front of me. Stop repeating the same crap that they say. Whether it's Sean Hannity or whoever, you're just repeating the same crap that they say. Stop that. And libertarians do it too. This isn't new. And for that matter, so do anarchists. I can't tell you how many people just repeat the same shit that Larkin Rose or the Atom or somebody else says. And this is coming from a person. I use a lot of quotes. Here in a minute, I'm going to use a quote that's related to what I'm talking about. I learned from a lot of great people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, ingest what Larkin has to say, or you shouldn't ingest what Bernie Sanders has to say. I am not saying that you shouldn't, think about it and ingest it, but think for yourself. Make judgments, not because some guy in authority or that's supposed to be the news says this is the way it is. Think about it. Use your brain. Think for yourself. The more people they can get in the propaganda arm of the government with media just spouting the same crap and shutting down people like Zero Hedge, who just recently were kicked off Twitter, the more they can narrow you into this frame and pit you against each other, the more they have control. So start thinking for yourself, even if you disagree with me. If you think I'm just dead wrong about everything, or I need to stop laughing at all these people and I need to take it seriously, whatever, think for yourself. Stop following. The thing is, there are two different kinds of leaders, and there are two different kinds of followers. There's a good follower, somebody that you can tell, just go do this. I've worked in blue-collar jobs, currently don't, but I have worked in blue-collar jobs, and I've had people that worked underneath me, and I like the followers that I go, I need this tool, and this tool, get me that stuff, and build this. I love that. Those good followers are great, and they're great people, and there's nothing wrong with them. But those are good followers. And then there's bad followers who say, give me this tool, and this tool, and they're like, or they go take a nap. They ain't following crap. But they're also not leading nobody. They're just bad followers. Then there's bad leaders. People that say, hey, do what I do, and here's the truth. And you got to follow this and be dictated to that, and this is how it is. And that's generally what government is ruled by, is bad leaders, people that need force to show you how to do things. They need to make you do it. Don't be a bad leader. Bad leaders are bad at it, and they're not good at it, and it doesn't get things done efficiently. Be a good leader. And that's what I hope that I am. I think I can be a pretty decent follower. I'm not a really good one. I always want to take over and do my own thing. but I do think that I'm a pretty good leader. And how I'm a good leader and what a good leader is I'm not telling you to do what I do. I'm not telling you how to do things. I'm not telling you, you got to, if you're an anarchist and want to go after the state, if you're a voluntarist and want to go after the state, I'm not saying go vote for Adam for sure. That may not work. I'm saying that's what I'm doing. It's one of the many things that I'm doing. I do a bunch of stuff, but that's one of the things that I'm doing because that's what I want to do. And I think that it might be effective. And I'm not telling you to do that. But if you follow me in my way, great. That's me being a good leader. The good leader leads themselves. So the quote for this video is from Aristotle. Aristotle said, "Be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in." That's the best advice ever, is think for yourself and evaluate what you believe in. That's how I've gotten to be a voluntarist. Is it was a path, and it took a while, and I just thought, and I thought for myself, and I led myself to where I'm at now. So, if you enjoyed this video, again, subscribe, hit that little bell. I put out one video a week. I'm not gonna bug the crap out of you. And hit like, share this video. If you think that I'm talking truth, tell me so in the comments. If you think I'm full of crap, tell me so in the comments. If you want to support me, by all means. There's a link to the Aquarian Anarchy Teesprings. Order yourself a t-shirt. Get yourself banners. I've got phone cases. Yeah, all kinds of crap. It's good stuff. I buy my own stuff. I'm not wearing one today, but I buy my own stuff because it looks cool. So check it out and stay free.